श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. Today, slokam 8. This talks about the mantram that if initiated and if uttered, it grants moksham through prapatti. This talks about SLOKA 8. Neha vikranti nasho nacha vihatiriha pratyavayo bhavediti uktam kaimutyanitya prapadhana vishaye yojitam shastravidbhihi tasmat kshetre tadarhe suvidita samayair deshikai samyakuptam mantrakyam mukti bijam parinati vasataha kalpate satpalaya neha vikranti nasho nacha vigatiriha pratyavayo bhavediti. Swami mentions in this slokam about the prapatti mantram which is initiated by Acharyan to the Shishya and uttered by Shishya, and that enables us to perform prapatti and attain moksham. So the question, the background question and why this slokam, the avatarika is this, introduction is this. Bhakti yogam is harder to observe prapatti. It's extremely hard. And prapatti is easy to practice. Yet prapatti has Mahavishwasam as an important angam for successful prapatti. We saw. Without Mahavishwasam, one does not attain Supreme Brahman. So, the Supreme Hari becomes easily accessible to those who have no doubts. He does not show himself to those who are full of doubts and who resort to mere logic. Vyavasaya hyate brahma nasadayati tatparam nissamshayeshu sarveshu nityam vasati vai harihi sasamshayan hetu balan nadhya vasati madhava. So if the supreme faith, the Mahavishwasam happens to one, there will be no doubt. Though this kind of Mahavishwasam is mild in the beginning, Perumal will make it completed by his daya, by his compassion. Even Manda Vishwasam or mild faith will become Mahavishwasam. So, when somebody recounts his supreme faith, I decide this as my spiritual means. The prayer to the Lord for becoming his upaya will be fulfilled. Seeking protection is included in that prayer. So, as a prapanna is not praying for the means in the form of bhakti yoga. What does he pray here? He prays that you stand in the place of any other means for me. I am the utterly helpless for granting me the required, particular, desired object. I am surrendering the burden of the protection of mine unto you. So, this is that mantra, Dvaya mantra, which is initiated by Acharyan to the Shishya. So, here, since Mahavishwasam, enduring, unassailable trust, faith in the Lord as an unfailing Rakshakan, is hard to cultivate, how can we accept that prapatti is easier to practice? Some pramanam, some authoritative scriptures, vachanams, and the utterances of Acharya state that Dvaya mantram, the prapatti mantram, can be uttered to gain moksham. So, if that is so, why would we want to go through prapatti, which has the need for the mastery of Mahavishwasam? The sloka addresses the question. So, the question asked to Desika was, if Dvaya mantram can enable us to get moksham, I will just utter Dvaya mantram. Why to perform prapatti? So, that's what is referred to in this sloka. In Bhagavad Gita, while explaining the Karma Yoga, in chapter 2, 40th slokam, 40, he says, even Krishna tells Arjuna, even if one starts the Karma Yoga and somehow is interrupted in the middle and stopped completely, still it does not give papam. It can be fulfilled subsequently at the appropriate time whenever he resumes, even in the next janma, to start from where he had left. Same is applicable for Bhakti Yoga. So, this is applicable for Karma Yoga. There is no papam associated by interruption in the middle. Similarly, one can imagine if it is applicable for just mere Karma Yoga and Jnana Bhakti Yoga, one can imagine how much more glorious it would be for Prapatti Yoga. So, the example referred to by Desika is in the practice of the farmers, planting a good seed at the favorable time, at the right time, in the right field, yields excellent crop appropriately when the thing matures. Similarly, Acharyas, knowing the right time for the Upadesam to the Shishya, the deserving Shishya, initiates through the Panchasamskaram, instruct him on the mantram, Ashtaksharam Dvayam Sharma Slokam, which kind of enthuses, kindles his Shraddha and leads to the stage of performing Prapatti for gaining moksha. Even if the Mahavishwasam is difficult to cultivate, the power of Dvaya Mantra utterance, the power of Japam, power of Upadesam from a Sadacharyan, the Kataksham of Sadacharyan will gradually perfect the Mahavishwasam. Even if it is mild, the Manda Vishwasam, mild Vishwasam will become Mahavishwasam. With Lord Daya, with the Sadacharya Kataksham, the power would help him realize the Mahavishwasam and successful Prapatti. Therefore, one has to recognize that the recitation alone of Dvaya Mantra will not lead directly to moksha. It will, through parampara, through step by step, to the performance of Prapatti. So, actually this Mahavishwasam reminds me of an anecdote, because of the 5 components of Prapatti mentioned, the most difficult is perhaps Mahavishwasam. This is the abiding faith that once we perform Sharanagati, the Lord would indeed save us. Rakshishyati iti Vishwasaha. The faith forms the anchor of Bharanyas, without which surrender is just not possible. If we do not believe that somebody is capable of saving me, how would I apply to him for protection? Why should I pray? And if it is this faith in all its intensity, which is difficult to acquire as it is to sustain. So, that is why even the mantra japam, mantra upadesam is required. The story was told, a farmer was about to break and fell a tree which is growing in the middle of his field. A big tree has already grown. It is blocking the field to grow, the paddy or whatever yield to grow. So, he wanted to take the axe and cut the tree trunk. There is a ghost living in the tree. So, it has been there living for quite some time. So, when he was about to cut, the ghost went and prayed to the farmer, please spare this tree. It is my abode. And I promise to get you every day whatever that you want. He said, I want yellu, a quintal of yellu every day, the farmer says, because he can sell that and make money. Sesame, yellu. So, to live up its promise, the ghost had to work throughout the day and get one huge sack in the night, searching out all the field, spread everywhere far and wide in the neighborhood, planted with sesame, because sesame is difficult to get, harvesting the same, carting it to the farmer's abode and bring it back and ship it back. By the time the ghost finished his daily quota of supply, it's completely exhausted, tired, weary, half dead. This arrangement worked fine till the farmer's death. The farmer's son insisted now Okay, my father was stupid. He didn't want to cut the tree. He accepted. Now I would like to cut the tree because it hinders cultivation. So the ghost appeared now to the new cultivator, the son of the farmer, to spare his home. And the son said, I don't want all that yelle and all. Then I have to go sell it. So what you do, you give me one big trunk of sesame oil, not yelle, but nalana, the sesame oil. Instead of the quintal of sesame, he wanted the quintal of sesame oil. So the ghost was completely dismayed at the thought of how much sesame he had to arrange for to obtain the sesame oil, and how simple the earlier contract was, which itself was difficult, as against the new one. So the in lighter vein, Bhakti Yoga as a means to liberation was like getting the quintal of sesame. Prapatti with Mahavishwasam is like getting the quintal of sesame oil. It is in this context Sri Yambar, Ramanujacharya Shishya, he said, Kala yelle kattu poi kala ennai aayithu. Meaning performing Prapatti with its emphasis on Mahavishwasam was a much taller order than performing Bhakti Yoga. The comparison here is Bhakti with a quintal of sesame and Prapatti with a quintal of sesame oil. Prapatti thus with Mahavishwasam is more difficult to perform than Bhakti Yoga. Why is this Mahavishwasam hard to attain? Because of our doubt on the Rakshakatvam of Perumal. You may stand in the place of any other means for me, the utterly helpless, for granting me the particular desired object. So it will be interesting the burden of one protection associated with a prayer, the Atma Samarpanam, entrusting the burden of the self, is the meaning of the term Adyavashya, supreme faith. The significance of Prapatti, surrendering the burden of protection, along with the accessories to the Lord who is Sarveshwara, Sarvarakshakan, Sarvajñan, Sarvashaktan, Paramadayalu, Paramakaruniko Bhagavan. This kind of surrendering the self is the prime part. By the mantra alone, one should entrust oneself unto me. Having fulfilled the duty of surrendering unto me, he will become one who has done what ought to be done. Anenaiva tu mantrena swaatmanam mayi nikshipet. Mayi nishipta kartavyaha kritakrityo bhavishyati. Here, prapadye is present. Is prapadye, that is the present tense, relating to the actual performance of prapatti. What is uttered at the time of actual surrender happens to be the upayam or means, and what all is reflected later, sada evam vakta, dvaya artha anusandhane saevam vakta, eva charirapatam atraiva srirange sukamasva. Namperumal Sri Raghunathan promises or advises Bhagavad Ramanuja after performance of prapatti that Dvayam artha anusandhanena saga sade evam vakta atraiva srirange sukamasva. Contemplating on the significance or the essence of Dvaya mantram, reside in Srirangam fearlessly. Do not have any more worry. Mate bhutatra nashamshaya. So here the fearlessness is required. So going back to the slOkam, the word by word meaning, Iha abhikranti nasha na. The begun and yet incomplete karma yogam does not go waste. Like vihati pratyavayo na bhavet iti vuktam. It will not result in papam, even if it is stopped in the middle, even if it is interrupted, even if it is accidentally stopped. It has been stated by Krishna in Gita, in 2nd chapter 40th slokam. Similarly, following the logic of Kaimutya Niti, learned people, scholars, Vedantis, Acharyas have agreed to the above view on Prapatti also, for the similar to the Karma Yoga. Tasmat tadarhe kshetre, therefore, when planted in the field of Chetanan, if you consider Chetanan as the field where the Dvaya Mantram is said, the Upadesam is sowed, the seed is sowed in the field. So once it is what you sow, so you reap. The Dvaya Mantram is sown in the field. So the Chetanan is receiving the Upadesam, receiving the seed of the Dvaya Mantram, planted in the field of the Chetanan. Suvidita samayai deshikai samyak uptam, from an Acharyan who knows that it is the right time to plant the seed, to sow the seed, which is the Dvaya Mantram. Mantrakyam mukti bijam parinati vasataha. The seed of Prapatti Mantram yields the fruit of moksham when it gets matured as a grown-up plant, as a grown-up field. Sat palaya kalpate, and becomes powerful to bless us with the palan, the fruit of moksham, while performing the Prapatti, while performing the Sharanagati. Such a beautiful manner it is told in this slokam, since it is difficult to reconcile the fact of performance of Prapatti and the impossible acquisition of the confidence, the Mahavishwasam. They would consider that the Upayam is indeed difficult to accomplish because of the Mahavishwasam. They may think, but do not worry, do not lament. It's quite easy. Kamya karmas would not suffer a man who leaves them in the middle. Kamya karma, the karma are the worldly objects, material desire. When you stop, it is wrong. There may be sins. In the case of routine exercise of duty, aradhanam, pilgrimage, charity, if you do, it pleases the Lord. If you do not do, there is no stigma. Prapatti, though it may be accomplished in one's later life, is a tree growing from the seed thrown in a suitable field, namely the Chetanan, the sentient being, the Jivatma, early in life, during the Panchasamskaram, initiated by Acharya, through the Mantropadesam. It is already sown, it's already planted, the seed. A good seed it is at the right time by Sadacharya. So it grows in time to ripen into a fine fruit, namely the performance of Prapatti, thereby the moksha. The original seed sown is similar to the imparting of Dvaya Mantra to being to a Jivatma by a Sadacharya. Of course, the seed itself will not yield the crop. It has to grow. It cannot directly secure moksham, though many quotations would appear that Dvaya Mantram will grant you moksham. Of course, the seed would grant you the crop. But when the two-syllable word Hari is uttered by one, preparation of moksha has been accomplished. They say, Hari, when you say Hari, it grants you moksha. That's equivalent to that. The direct and immediate cause for moksham is one and only Prapatti. Its performance demands many preconditions, which is accessible to everyone, which will mature us into the performance of Prapatti. Adiyen, Dhanyosmi, Kavitarkika Simhaya, Kalyana Gunashaline, Srimathe Venkateshaya, Vedanta Gurave Namaha.